The Senate will come to order. Mr. Carpenter, please call the roll.
Senators Bridges, Cook, Corum, Crowder, Danielson, Donovan,
Excused.
Finberg, Fields, Foote, Gardner, Janal, Gonzalez, Hanson, Hill,
Excused.
Heisey, Holbert, Lee, Lundeen, Marble, Moreno, Pedersen,
Excused.
Priola, Rankin, Rodriguez, Scott, Smallwood, Sonnenberg, Story, Tate, Todd, Williams, Winter, Woodward, Zinzinger. Mr. President,
Here. With 32 present, 0 absent, and 3 excused, we have a quorum. Senator Woodward, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Colleagues and guests, please stand and join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
Approval of the Journal. Senator Lee.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the reading of the Journal of Friday, February 28th be dispensed with and that the Journal be approved as corrected by the Secretary.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the motion is adopted. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that we proceed out of order for a moment of personal privilege from you, Mr. President.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The Senate will move out of order for proceed out of order for a moment of personal privilege from the good senator from Senate District 3.
Mr. President.
Thank you, Madam President. Members and guests, good morning. And I want to take just a few moments to proceed out of order to recognize a couple of individuals who have helped us accomplish a great thing for the State Senate. I want to start off by recognizing Mr. Douglas Evans and tell you a little bit about his nephew Jordan Curtis and his young son Roy Evans, who are from Samaritan and helped us receive this wonderful piano that will be a new addition to the Senate. I want to read this tribute, if you would allow me. The Colorado Senate convened in the second regular session of the 72nd General Assembly hereby extends appreciation and thanks to Douglas Evans. In the true spirit of the Good Samaritan, Douglas Evans selflessly assists those in need through his charitable organization, the Armchair Samaritan. The Colorado State Senate recognizes Douglas Evans' devotion to improving the lives of his fellow Coloradans and the compassion he inspires through his life's work. The donation of a piano to the State Senate chambers will forever serve as a reminder of the good deeds Douglas Evans does on behalf of those less fortunate in our state, given on the request of Libraham Garcia, the second day of March 2020, President of the Senate. Let me just tell you, for those of you who do not know what the Senate has just inherited, this 1984 Baldwin Acrosonic piano is a fairly new piano by today's standards. It's a great quality, one of the best types of pianos out there on the market. The sound vents on the side are a feature of a very unique style of piano, and I know he has gone to great lengths to ensure, as he looked at the Senate and has studied the Senate's characteristics, that this piano would fit well. We also have joining us today Rockin' Jay as he goes by. He is a wonderful gentleman, Jay Wilshak, who is graciously allowed the tuning of this piano. So the aggregate cost of this piano that we have inherited is about $8,000 for the Senate, with the delivery that they included and also now the tuning. We will have a wonderful thing for the Senate to enjoy for years and years to come. So, Madam President, since we are out of order, I would love to ask Mr. Rockin' Jay to share with us one theme song that he has said that he would love to play, which is the theme song of Taxi from the TV series Taxi.
Mr. President,
Thank you, Madam President. And at the fear of having the Madam President fine me, I will disclose that I think I should be fined for not requesting a moment of personal privilege. Madam President, I would like to continue my moment of personal privilege. Members, I would ask that we just go into a brief recess so that we can welcome our guests and thank them for this wonderful contribution to the Colorado Senate.
we will go into a brief recess. Koyak kids? After personal privilege? What?
During announcements.
During announcements, not till then, okay.
The Senate will come back to order. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate proceed out of order for just 2 more moments of personal privilege. Maybe just 1 moment of personal privilege from the good senator, or just one of the good senators from El Paso County.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the Senate will proceed out of order for a moment of personal privilege from the good senator from Monument. Senator Lundin.
Thank you, Mr. President. I request a moment of personal privilege, Mr. President.
Granted.
Thank you very much. Members, we are honored today to have a fellow elected from the East Coast join us. Jamel Holley is an assemblyman who represents the 20th District of New Jersey and is a leader of the New Jersey Black Legislative Caucus. Assemblyman Holley is the founder of the Urban Health Alliance that works to develop policy solutions to stop the epidemics of chronic illness in the African American and Latino communities. Assemblyman Holley is coming to Denver to build bridges between the New Jersey Legislative Caucus and the Colorado Legislature. He wants to engage in a conversation with us, lawmakers and colleagues of both parties and leaders in the community about the astonishing rise in chronic illness and how we should respond. This is especially interesting to us as we have just in this chamber finished the discussion of Senate Bill 163, a vaccine safety vaccine registry bill, as part of that conversation around public health. And I'm confident that Assemblyman Holley will have things to say about that issue in a presser later today, and also a gathering and assembly on the west steps of the Capitol at noon today. But for now, I would like to say, Assemblyman Holley, thank you very much for being here with us today.
Senator Lundin is recognized. Senator Lundin is recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. The wisdom literature talks about being a prophet without honor in his own home. I'm thinking maybe I should go to New Jersey, and perhaps I might find a reception there that was similar to what Assemblyman Holley just received here in Colorado. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Todd.
Thank you, Mr. President, and may I ask for a moment of personal privilege?
Granted.
We are joined this morning by a group of young people, our future leaders, Koyak, Colorado Youth Leaders Council, that is with us today, and they will be here on both sides of the aisle. I think we have them, and visiting throughout. They will be coming to you. The good news is that we have a Koyak student for every Senate district in Colorado. Thank you to our former colleague, Senator Helen Roberts, I'm sorry, just a total blank, that started this whole program to where there would be an opportunity for students and legislators to connect, and so we are thrilled to have them today.
Senator Quorum.
Thank you, Mr. President. May I have a moment of personal privilege?
Granted.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, we're honored to have them here today. The good senator said that you will have the opportunity to talk to them, but you also have the opportunity to meet with them in the Supreme Court chambers between 1 and 2 and get their thoughts on what they think Colorado needs. Also, I would like to announce that last week, the very first bill signed in this session of the General Assembly was for a bill increasing the committee of Koyak to one member of the Southern Ute and one member of the Ute Mountain Tribe. So we're very honored that to carry that forward and carry on the work of Senator Roberts. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. President.
The Senate will stand in a brief recess to welcome our guests.
Correctly regrossed Senate Bill 330, 50, 965, 73, 150, 132, 150, 163, 167. Correctly revised House Bill 1027. Correctly revised House Bill 1026, 1048, 1262, and 1289.
Committee reports.
February 27, 2020, Committee on Transportation and Energy. After Service and Mayor's Committee following House Bill 1181. Be referred to Committee of the Whole. Favorable recommendation placed on the consent calendar February 27, 2020. Committee on Transportation and Energy. After Service and Mayor's Committee following Senate Bill 168. Be amended as follows. As submitted before Committee on Finance. The favorable recommendation February 27, 2020. Committee on Transportation and Energy. After Service and Mayor's Committee following Senate Bill 70. Be amended as follows. As submitted before Committee on Finance. The favorable recommendation February 27, 2020. Committee on Transportation and Energy. After Service and Mayor's Committee following Senate Bill 178. Be amended as follows. As submitted before Committee on Appropriations. The favorable recommendation.
Message from the House.
The House has adopted and returns herewith Senate Joint Resolution 3.
Introduction of bills.
House Bill 1060 by Representative Tone and Superintendent Rodriguez and Marble concerning the conversion of human remains to basic elements within a container using an accelerated process in connection with making an appropriation.
State Veterans and Military Affairs.
House Bill 1275 by Representative Buentello and Senators Heisey and Lee concerning providing in-state tuition status at a community college for military families regardless of whether Colorado domicile status is satisfied.
Education. Third reading of bills, consent calendar. Will the clerk please read the items listed on the third reading of bills consent calendar?
House Bill 1027 by Representatives Catlin and Escar and Senators Cook and Fields concerning authorizing Colorado State Patrol Port of Entry officers to direct traffic.
Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the passage of the one bill on the third reading of bills consent calendar, which includes House Bill 1027.
Is there any discussion on House Bill 1027? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the passage of House Bill 1027 on third reading and final passage consent calendar. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 32 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, and 3 excused, House Bill 1027 is passed. Co-sponsors: Senators Moreno, Smallwood, Tate, Woodward, Hansen, Priola, Winter, Scott, Heisey, Janal, Gardner, Senator Todd, Senator Bridges, Mr. Carpenter, please, third reading of bill's final passage. Mr. Carpenter, please read the title to House Bill 1124.
You cut to the chase. I support that. Just for efficiency.
Correction. Mr. Carpenter, please read the title to Senate Bill 093.
Senate Bill 93 by Senators Foot and Pemberg and Representative Jackson concerning protections related to mandatory agreement provisions in connection therewith, enacting the Consumer and Employee Dispute Resolution Fairness Act.
Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move Senate Bill 93 lay over until March 3rd.
The motion is to lay over Senate Bill 93 until 3/3/20. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and Senate Bill 093 will be laid over until 3/3/20 and retain its place on the calendar. Second reading of bills, consent calendar. Senator Williams.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole for consideration of journal orders and second reading of bills consent calendar.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the motion is adopted, and the Senate will resolve itself to the Committee of the Whole for consideration of general order, second reading bills consent calendar. Senator Williams will take the chair.
The committee will come to order and the court rule is relaxed. Will the clerk please read the title of the bills, all the bills, on the journal order, second reading of bills consent calendar?
House Bill 1124 by Representatives McKean and Snyder and Senator Gardner concerning clarification of the period following the declaration by the Governor of disaster emergency in a county within which the Board of County Commissioners may transfer county general fund money to the County Road and Bridge Fund for the purposes of disaster response and recovery. House Bill 1038 by Representatives Arndt and Van Winkle and Senators Woodward and Moreno concerning certain conforming amendments necessitated by the transfer of certain programs to the Department of Human Services from the Department of Public Health and Environment pursuant to House Bill 131117. Senate Bill 177 by Senator Donovan, Representative Woodrow, concerning amending the definition of hard cider as it relates to the regulation of alcohol beverages to harmonize with federal law. House Bill 1013 by Representative Snyder and Senator Lee concerning the specification of procedures for the ratification of defective corporate actions.
Majority Leader Finberg.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move for the adoption of all the bills on the consent calendar, which includes House Bill 1124, House Bill 1038, Senate Bill 177, House Bill 1013.
Is there any discussion on any of the bills on the consent calendar? The motion before us is the adoption of all the bills on the general order, second reading of bills, consent calendar. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes have it, and all the bills on the calendar are adopted. Majority Leader Finberg.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move the committee rise and report.
Motion is for the committee to rise and report. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes have it, and the motion is adopted. Committee will rise and report.
The Senate will come to order. Senator Williams.
Thank you, Mr. President. The committee has had a number of bills under consideration. Will the clerk please read the report?
Mr. President, your committee will lead reports that serious and the following test bills being second thereof makes following recommendation on Senate Bill 177 pass second order gross place calendar for the ring of final passage. House Bill 1124, House Bill 1038, House Bill 1013 pass second order revised and place calendar for the ring of final passage.
Senator Williams.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the report.
The motion is for the adoption of the committee of the whole report. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 32 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, and 3 excused, the committee of the whole report is adopted. Senate Bill 177 passed on second reading, ordering gross and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. House Bill 1124, House Bill 1038, and House Bill 1013 passed on second reading, ordered revised and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. Second reading of bills. Senator Williams.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate resolve itself as the committee of the whole for the consideration of general order, second reading of bills.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The motion is adopted, and the Senate will resolve itself in the committee of the whole for consideration of general order, second reading of bills, and Senator Williams will take the chair.
Committee will come to order and the court rule is relaxed. Will the clerk please read the title to Senate Bill 138?
Senate Bill 138 by Senator Rodriguez concerning increased consumer protection for homeowners seeking relief for construction defects.
Majority Leader Finberg.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move Senate Bill 138 lay over until tomorrow, March 3rd.
The motion is to lay over Senate Bill 138 until March the 3rd. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it. Will the clerk please read the title to Senate Bill 80?
Senate Bill 80 by Senator Rodriguez concerning amending the Colorado Consumer Protection Act to increase the damages for which plaintiff is eligible.
Senator Rodriguez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move Senate Bill 80, and there are no committee reports.
To the bill, Senator Rodriguez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move Senate Bill 80. I'd like to talk about in 1968, Colorado passed the Consumer Protection Act. In 1969, to safeguard Colorado consumers from deceptive trade practices. Everything had been fine up until 2012, when in 1999 we did an amendment changing some who could file lawsuits under the Consumer Protection Act, which it passed, it got through the House. So for 12 years up until 2012, the state was continuing with consumer protection class action lawsuits. And in 2012, somebody asked Judge Krieger in the Martinez case to look at the direct interpretation of the statute and decided that class actions were no longer necessary. It could be filed under the statute. So since then, we've had no ability to go after class action lawsuits in the state of Colorado. And all this bill does is clarify that that was never the intent of the legislation we passed 12 years before a judge revised our interpretation of our laws. So I ask for your consideration and I vote on this bill.
Is there any further discussion on Senate Bill 80? Senator Tate.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just have a question for the bill sponsor. In these intervening years, have there been any anecdotal cases of the need for consumer protection or recourse that have not occurred because of the common law precedent?
Senator Gardner.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I will be a no on Senate Bill 80. This is a change in the damages that benefits plaintiffs' attorneys. And that will create litigation, which will be good for me personally. I just want everybody to know that if you want to support the legal profession, you should be a yes. But if you think that maybe we have too many lawyers in our lives, you should be a no. This creates an enforcement mechanism for the Colorado Consumer Protection Act that encourages individual lawsuits more and more. We have struck the balance in Colorado with the CCPA that it is more a function of the Attorney General to do these things. This is just undoing a good deal of the reform that we have done in the past. It is rolling it back. You see other bills as well that are doing this. I ask for a no vote.
Senator Rodriguez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, 2 articles I read today. There's an investigation in Juul for consumer protections. There's also an investigation going after the phone companies for some price rigging, which are some of the things that we decide. It's curious to me, for my colleagues across the aisle, that this is one of those times where we think government enforcement and regulation is better for the free market enterprise. I think it's an interesting discussion. It's something I've done a little reading on. But that being said, we are not increasing any fees or anything. We've kept it at the same amount it was since it was enacted 30 years ago. So we're not asking for any increases of prices or anything else. All we're doing is asking to allow these things to hope. The best thing for the free market, and some of the things that are important to a free market, is that there's no fraud, no breach of contract, and no price rigging. This is the system's ability to enforce itself through the private entities versus government oversight and regulations. If we don't do this, perhaps we need to look at passing more legislations on regulations. Maybe that's a different pursuit we should go at. If that's something you guys want to have, that's a different bill we can talk about co-sponsoring next year. I ask for an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion on Senate Bill 80? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption. A division has been called. Okay. A division has been requested. All those in the chamber not entitled to vote, please be seated. The motion is the adoption of Senate Bill 80. All those in favor, please stand. Please be seated. All those opposed, please stand. The motion is for the adoption of Senate Bill 80, and that motion is adopted. Senator Finberg. You might go ahead. Okay. Will the clerk please read the title to Senate Bill 40?
Senate Bill 40 by Senators Jen Allen Todd and Representatives Buckner, Michelson, and Janae concerning the regulation of genetic counselors.
Majority Leader Finberg.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move Senate Bill 40 lay over until tomorrow, 3/3.
The motion is for Senate Bill 40 to lay over till Tuesday, March the 3rd. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it, and Senate Bill 40 will be laid over till March the 3rd. Will the clerk please read the title of Senate Bill 166?
Senate Bill 166 by Senator Moreno and Representative Escar concerning simplifying the requirements for a minor to obtain a new birth certificate from the state registrar.
Senator Moreno.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move Senate Bill 166 and the Senate Health and Human Services Committee report.
Thank you, Senator Moreno. To the committee report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Colleagues, in the Health and Human Services Committee, we adopted a few amendments at the request and suggestion of the Department of Revenue. Many of you know that we modernized the process for receiving a new identification document, not only just for birth certificates last year, but also for different forms of state IDs. And so this simply adds those other state IDs into the bill. Ask for your aye vote.
Is there any further discussion on Senate Bill 166? Okay. Is there any discussion on the committee report? There being none, is there any further discussion on Senate Bill? Seeing no further discussion on the committee report, the Health and Human Services Committee report. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it. Senator Moreno.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Colleagues, Senate Bill 166 is really just a simple cleanup from a bill that we passed last year. I encourage your aye vote.
Is there any further discussion on Senate Bill 166? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of Senate Bill 166. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes have it, and Senate Bill 166 is adopted. Will the clerk please read House Bill 20-1009?
House Bill 1009 by Representative Jackson and Senator Winter concerning suppressing court records of eviction proceedings.
Senator Winter.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move for the passage of House Bill 1009 on second reading and final passage.
Senator Winter.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This bill is about eviction proceedings. About 30% of our eviction proceedings are actually found to be in favor of the tenant. However, that eviction proceeding is permanently on their record, which when third-party companies gather data for background checks, it is there and it does not distinguish if it was actually an eviction or not, and it can lead to discrimination in finding future housing, and this would suppress it. This does not change evictions, and if the tenant is evicted, that is still public record, and I encourage a yes vote.
Is there any further discussion on House Bill 20-1009? Seeing none, the motion before us is the adoption of House Bill 20-1009. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes have it, and the bill is adopted. Members will take a senatorial 5. The committee will come back to order. Majority Leader Finberg.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move the committee rise and report.
The motion before the committee is to rise and report. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes have it, and the committee will rise and report.
The Senate will come to order. Senator Williams.
Thank you, Mr. President. The committee has met and has a number of bills under consideration. Will the clerk please read the report?
Mr. President, committee will beg to lead report as that consideration of test bills being second thereof makes following recommendations drawn. Senate Bill 80, Senate Bill 166 as amended passed second order and goes place and counter third reading and final passage. House Bill 1009 passed second order revised place and counter for third reading and final passage. Senate Bill 138, Senate Bill 40 laid over until 3/3/20 and retaining their place on the calendar.
Senator Williams.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the adoption of the report.
Minority Leader Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. President. Under Senate Rule 25F, I request a roll call vote on Senate Bill 80 and ask for a no vote.
The motion is the adoption of the committee of the whole report. A roll call vote has been requested. Mr. Carpenter, please poll on Senate Bill 080. Mr. Carpenter, please poll the members.
Senators Bridges, Bridges, aye. Cook. Cook, no. Quorum. Quorum, no. Crowder. Crowder, no. Danielson. Danielson, aye. Donovan, excused. Finberg. Finberg, no. Fields. Fields, aye. Foot. Foot, aye. Gardner. Gardner, no. Janal. Janal, aye. Gonzalez. Gonzalez, aye. Hanson. Hanson, aye. Hill, excused. Heisey. Heisey, no. Holbert. Holbert, no. Lee. Lee, aye. Lundeen. Lundeen, no. Marble. Marble, no. Moreno. Moreno, aye. Pedersen, excused. Priola. Priola, no. Rankin. Rankin, no. Rodriguez. Rodriguez, aye. Scott. Scott, no. Smallwood. Smallwood, no. Sonnenberg. Sonnenberg, no. Story. Story, aye. Tate. Tate, no. Todd. Todd, aye. Williams. Williams, aye. Winter. Winter, aye. Woodward. Woodward, no. Zinzinger.
Excused.
Mr. President.
Aye.
Mr. President, aye.
With 15 ayes, 16 noes, 0 absent, and 4 excused, Senate Bill 80 is lost. The motion is the adoption of the Committee of the Whole report. Are there any no votes? With a vote of Mr. Carpenter, please mark Senator Zenzinger marked excused. With a vote of 31 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 4 excused, the Committee of the Whole report is adopted. Senate Bill 166 as amended, passed on second reading, ordered, engrossed, and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. House Bill 1009 passed on second reading, ordered, revised, and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. Senate Bill 138, Senate Bill 40 laid over until 3/3/20, retaining their place on the calendar. Senate Bill 80 lost on second reading. Governor's appointments, consent calendar. Will the clerk please read the appointments listed on the consent calendar?
Member of the Energy Impact Assistance Advisory Committee for term expiring August 24, 2023, Joseph Timothy Redmond of Hayden, Colorado, appointed.
Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the confirmation of all the appointments listed on the consent calendar, which includes members of the Energy Impact Assistance Advisory Committee.
Is there any discussion? Seeing none, the motion is a confirmation of all the appointments on the consent calendar. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 31 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 4 excused, all of those appointments are confirmed. Message from the Governor.
February 13, 2020, the Honorable Colorado Senate, ladies and gentlemen, pursuant to the powers conferred upon by Constitution and laws of the state of Colorado, I have the honor to designate reappoints to consideration the following members of the Workers' Compensation Cost Containment Board for terms expiring December 13, 2022. Karen Cook Willis of Colorado Springs, Colorado, representing executives with good risk management experience in the insurance industry. Appointed Edward Dean Davis of Centennial, Colorado, representing employers with good risk management experience with respect to their workers' compensation insurance. Reappointed Patrick Warren Haig of Fort Collins, Colorado, to serve as an executive with good risk management experience in the insurance industry. Appointed sincerely, Jared Polis, Governor.
Business, Labor, and Technology.
June 19th, 2019, Honorable Colorado Senate. Ladies and gentlemen, pursuant to the powers conferred by the Constitution and laws of the state of Colorado, I have honored designated appoint, reappoint, and submit to consideration the following members of the Advisory Committee on Governmental Accounting for terms expiring May 18th, 2023. Carrie Bartow of El Paso, Colorado, to serve as representative of Special Services Districts. Appointed Brenda Ritchie of Boulder, Colorado, to serve as a representative of City and County Government. Appointed James Edward Ray of Windsor, Colorado, to serve as a certified public accountant. Reappointed sincerely, Jared Polis, Governor.
Finance.
May 7th, 2019, to the Honorable Colorado Senate. Ladies and gentlemen, pursuant to the powers conferred by the Constitution and laws of the state of Colorado, I have honored designated appoint, reappoint, submit to consideration the following Charter School Institute Board for terms expiring July 1st, 2021. Tamara Olson of Colorado Springs, Colorado, to serve as a parent of a student who is or who has been enrolled in an institute charter school and as an unaffiliated appointed sincerely, Jared Polis, Governor.
Education. Signing of bills.
The President has signed Senate Bill 37 and 69.
Message from the House.
House has passed on third reading transmitted to Rise Statutes House Bill 1116 and 1177. House has passed third reading transmitted to Rise Statutes House Bill 1081. Amendments printed in the House Journal February 21st, 2020. House Bill 1173. Amendments printed in the House Journal February 13th, 2020. House Bill 1120. Amendments printed in the House Journal February 28th, 2020. House Bill 1209. Amendments printed in the House Journal February 28th, 2020. The House has passed on third reading returns here with Senate Bill 8291 and 25. The House has passed on third reading transmitted to Rise Statutes Senate Bill 61. Amendments printed in the House Journal February 28th, 2020.
Message from the Reviser.
We herewith transmit without comment House Bill 1116 and 1177 without comment as amended. House Bill 1081, 1120, 1173, and 1209 without comment as amended. Senate Bill 61.
Announcements. Mr. Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, you may have heard this sad news already, but during Saturday evening, R.J. Reynolds, husband to former Representative Polly Lawrence, R.J. Lawrence, passed away in his sleep. If Polly, Representative Lawrence, is someone with whom you had the opportunity to serve, if you count her as a friend, I'm sure she would welcome your prayers. You may want to contact her, and we have no information at this point as to when services might be held. Word started to spread Sunday morning for those of us in Douglas County, and I think further today, but I just wanted to let you know. And again, just keep Polly and her family in your prayers, and thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Lundin.
Mr. President, I request a moment of personal privilege.
Granted.
Thank you, Mr. President. The time to eulogize R.J. Rick Lawrence will be in the future, and that will be appropriate. He was a dear friend. Today, I would encourage you to, if you are the kind who prays, pray on behalf of Polly Lawrence and the family. If you had the opportunity to serve with Polly in the House as I did, find time to reach out to her today and let her know she is loved and supported and encouraged in this moment of need. This building creates unusual dynamics. It also creates incredibly tight bonds of friendship across the aisle. And this is one of those moments where I know many of you have such a relationship with RJ or Polly, and I would encourage you to lean into that relationship today as they are in need and we are all at a loss as RJ has shuffled off this mortal coil. Thank you, Mr. President.
Further announcements. Senator Cook.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have conferred with the Minority Leader and the Majority Leader and request to be counted as excused on Wednesday, March 4th.
The Senator Cook will be marked excused as requested. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, we do have some bills to read across, so we will keep the desk open. You do not need to be here. Mr. President, I move the Senate recess until noon today.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the Senate will stand in recess until 1200 today.